Welcome back to part 2 of the 2023 review of Just Do It. And we left it on a cliffhanger. The main goal of 2023, which was late May, the Darley Moor Duathlon. So let's catch up. So Darley Moor Sprint Duathlon then. Draft legal. Darley Moor, if you don't know it, is a motor racing circuit, which is really great to do multi-sport events on, running and cycling. No traffic, no hold-ups, it's safer. The runs around the outside of the track on sort of a mix of hardened trail and concrete. So, and then onto the actual bike itself is on the motor racing circuit, and you do loops of that. I think it was 8 laps for a 20k on the bike, and then just under 5k for the first run, and 2.5k is thereabouts for the second run. I actually finished 4th in my age group in 56.19, which is my fastest time on that course by far, but then the draft was legal and I did get into a big bunch, the bike draft legal, where we just kind of swooped along, sweeping up other riders, and the group just got bigger and bigger as the laps went by. First run was 17:40 for me, which it's not 5k, it's a short 5k, but that was at least 30 seconds quicker than I've ever ran on there, and I've done that course quite a few times since 2018. So that shows the run went really well, although the 2 laps of it that creates that first run, I did start to feel it on the end of that run. I was hanging on a bit, but I went into transition straight onto the bike, and I could see the leaders just ahead of me, because I was quite near the front of the wave in our age group. So I worked with another guy, and we quickly sort of got on the back of that lead group. And that's what I'm saying, we were motoring along quite nicely, and I was quite comfy sitting in the group. I did my share of the work, but we did pick up other riders as we went round and round, and it became difficult to understand those that had been lapped and those that were in our group. I was just losing, the orientation was difficult because I'd not been in that dynamic before. But the riding, the effort itself, I was finding it okay. I used little tapes on my bars to rip off so I know how many laps I've completed. So we came to the end of the first the bike leg, into transition, and it's a sprint event, short run, short second run. I was using New Balance SC Elite to put on, and I'd messed up the trainers basically in terms of lacing. They weren't loose enough, and I was struggling to get them on, and I had to faff around with the laces, and that cost me what felt like a long time. Whether it was, not quite sure. But the result, the second run, it was fast for me, but I was in 4th place in my age group. The winner was 19 seconds ahead, so it was close, and I just wonder where I could have finished if I hadn't have had that faff in transition. But that's the way it goes. That's racing. Somebody else could have equally have had a problem and the like, so it doesn't matter. That's where you finish. But the wave I was in was the 50 and above, so there were a few people mixed in, younger than me and some older. But even though I was 4th in the 55-59 to qualify, I was in the 60 to 64 to qualify for the European Duathlon Champs, because that's the age group I'll be racing in 2024. So although I didn't count for that race in the 60 to 64, if I look at comparison of those others trying to qualify, I was the fastest by 4 minutes, so really pleased with that. It sort of shows, at the bottom of the age group, obviously I'm going to be reasonably competitive, you'd have thought. Who knows, could be loads of other people stepping up as well, or other people who weren't racing at Darley Moor could be in the mix. So anyway, I qualified for 2024 for the European Sprint Duathlon Champs, which I now know is going to be in Portugal in June. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I'll vlog something about that later on, because all my focus at the moment is on, the standard distance British Championships in 2024. But that was my main goal for 2023, and you could argue it went really well. So I qualified. So what did I do after that event? I basically was going, the fitness was great, the form was great, and what I've done in the past is say, great, I'm going to race more, I'm going to train harder, I'm going to go even faster. And I've ended up getting injured. So I decided I'd do like a mini reset. So I had an easy period, a short easy period, and then built back the strength and conditioning, brought that back in as the prime focus again, just for a few weeks, with the aim of targeting a fast 10K in beginning of 1st of October, which would be the Knutsford 10K, which is a known fast course, to see if I could get anywhere near breaking 37 minutes. So that mini build started off then, and in June I did the 10K, Stone 10K as a training race. I won my age group in that, but it was a very hot day, 38:47, not particularly fast. But I noticed I ran it as a training split, so I did the first 5K steady, and then the goal was to increase the pace in the second 5K, so 19:38 for the first 5K, and 19:08 for the second, 08 for the second 5K. So although it was 30 seconds quicker, it's not that much really for the perceived effort. Obviously the fatigue set in and the heat. I thought I was trying a whole lot harder. I suppose 30 seconds over 5K is quite significant, but anyway, it was a good race and enjoyable. And then into July I did the Port Vale 5K, a new event. Won my age group in that, 18:40, and that was again in the middle of that mini training build block where the focus was strength and conditioning. So I didn't feel I was in great shape for running fast, but it was a good event and I felt good. And also track sessions continued and I started to feel a bit faster, and I did a few sessions down at Newcastle AC track rather than the Northwood track with the Tri Club, because Newcastle AC track is literally joggable for me from home. But it's a cinder track, the old style kind of compact dirt track. But some of the times in those track sessions were really decent. So I was kind of feeling like, yeah, I've got some shape is coming and I've done the right thing to reset and rebuild. And part of that in July as well, I had to go at a park run and did a recent course PB of 18:15 for 5K at the Whammy. So all those signs were there that things were going well. And then for the bike, I did a 25-mile open TT in 57:37. So although that's, I've been a lot faster, but with a PB of a low 55 minutes, that's still really decent enough for duathlon for my age group. So again, another sign that things were going really well. And then as we approached September, I was doing some good work, some good training, and all of a sudden in September, COVID. Oh no, COVID hit me and I really felt ill with that. And that sort of scuppered any of my plans for the races for the back end of the season, which was really disappointing because I felt like I was going well and I'd actually trained wisely and constructively and did another mini build rather than just trying to push harder and braking. So that was last year really, and that led me back to the beginning, sort of back end of September, beginning of October, where I started the same build process. What did I do differently? Bring in strength and conditioning, and then some endurance work, a 2-month block, and then the 2-month block I'm in now, bring in more intensity, but maintain the strength and conditioning, and then move into another block where you're honing the form in terms of speed to run a decent race. So that's it. The goal is 24th of March at the British Duathlon Champs at Alton Park, where the distance is standard distance. So I think it's just under 10K first run, just under 40K bike, and then a 5K run around those distances, whatever the circuits equate to. So it's significant in terms of distance really. So you're looking at least 2 hours of racing, which is a bit longer event than I did target for the Darley Moor Duathlon back in May of this year. And then I'll probably regroup again after the target. So what I'm really hoping for is to stay healthy, that March is going to be relatively mild, and I'm going to be able to race there without ice, wind, rain and cold that kind of makes me freeze up and not perform very well. It must be an age thing. But anyway, so there we go. Moving into a new age group, 60 to 64 in 2024. And I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for listening to me waffle on about what I did in 2023. But I think it's important to know where you've come from to then form a decent plan of where you're going. So happy days and thanks for watching. Catch you next time. I would like to say thank you to everybody out there who's watched this channel so far. It's only very young, just a couple of months old. But I really appreciate folks watching, and like I said, it's interactive That really helps me, and I really like to follow your journeys as well. So I wish you all the best as for the Christmas season as we move forward into 2024, and may all your bike run goals be met and you do really well. So stay healthy and keep running, keep biking,